What if I told you that getting ahead of 97% of people doesn't require genius, wealth, or connections, but simply a willingness to do what others won't? Most people today are sprinting on a treadmill, busy, burnt out, and directionless. They feel like they're meant for more, but for whatever reason, they're stuck grinding through life while others seem to leap ahead with ease. Truth is, many will never make real progress towards their dreams. Not because they're incapable, but because they will spend their lives focusing on the wrong things and being distracted, feeling overwhelmed, or waiting for the perfect time to begin. When you're willing to do what most won't, however, it's actually pretty easy to get ahead of most people. Not overnight, but over time. And in this video, I'll show you exactly how. If we haven't met, I'm Simon Alexander Ong, and I spent the last decade studying what separates top performers from the average through coaching leaders, writing books, and helping people to live energized and purpose-driven lives. And what I've learned is this: the people who create extraordinary lives follow timeless principles. They think differently, act intentionally, and build habits that compound into a life that looks and feels remarkable. If you watch until the end, I'll walk you through 7 simple but powerfully transformative principles. Each one is designed to shift how you think about success and help you build a life you're deeply proud of. Number 1, the bar is shockingly low. Most people that we are surrounded by are sleepwalking through life, not out of laziness, but because they're overstimulated, overcommitted, and numbed out by the noise. They spend their days in reaction mode. They wake up, scroll social media, respond to notifications, give in easily to distractions, and then wonder why their lives don't change. And we live in the collective comfort zone, a world where the goal is to look like you're doing well without actually doing the hard, consistent, quiet work. With short attention spans and even shorter patience, most people quit before they start and give up at the first sign of resistance. They scroll past their own potential on a daily basis. That's why it's easier than ever to stand out. And excellence today is simply consistency in disguise. There's a study from Columbia University that analyzed over 10,000 employees across industries. The top performers weren't the most talented. They were the ones who showed up reliably, solved problems without drama, and followed through. That's it. Because the truth is that most people don't do this. So be the person who shows up when they say they will, delivers without drama, adds value without waiting to be asked, cares when others can't be bothered, stays humble throughout the journey, and follows through on what they start. In a world where most people are distracted, cynical, or waiting for permission, doing the basic things with care and consistency will set you apart more than you think. And when you're consistent with the basics, you will become extraordinary by default. Number 2, the power of small wins. Kobe Bryant, arguably one of the greatest athletes of our time, once arrived at a training gym at 4 in the morning. Not for his scheduled workout, but for a private 45-minute session practicing only footwork drills. Nothing flashy, just foundational movements. When asked why he was practicing the most basic drills, his answer was simple: because I never get bored with the basics. This is what most people miss. Success is built on boring, on repetition, and on invisible reps that no one sees or applauds. While most people chase novelty, high performers fall in love with the process. And that's why I want you to adopt this mental framework, the 3-level system of growth. Level 1 is annoyance. These are the tiny decisions that feel mildly inconvenient, but are easily doable. Taking the stairs, drinking water instead of soda, skipping Netflix to plan out your next day, listening to an inspiring podcast episode instead of scrolling. These small wins help to create momentum. They're not hard, they're just inconvenient. And that's why most people skip them. But when you string together 30 to 60 of these micro wins across a day, week, and month, the compounding effect is staggering. Level 2 is discomfort. This is where growth begins, because now you're doing something that scares you a little. It means doing one thing every day that stretches you. It's saying no when you normally say yes. It's posting your first video online. It's asking for the feedback you would rather skip. It's sharing your dream with others and taking that first step towards making it happen. Neuroscience shows that discomfort triggers neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to rewire and grow, confirming to us that your growth lives right outside your comfort zone in the stretch zone. It rewires the brain's tolerance for future challenges. It's like lifting emotional weights, if you will. Level 3 is pain. This is where real transformation happens, because pain is a tax you pay for greatness and why it is the place few enter. This is where you choose challenge on purpose. Starting a business idea and risking failure, ending a toxic relationship, rebuilding your habits from scratch, quitting the job everyone else thinks is amazing. You chase the reps that hurt because you know that they will shape you into the person required to achieve your goals in life. Most avoid pain. High performers partner with it to become extraordinary. This level isn't for everyone, but it's where transformation happens. Most people run from this level, not understanding that you only have to visit this level, not live in it forever. The key is to engage with all 3 levels on a daily basis. Number 3, think in decades, plan in months, execute in days. In a world obsessed with overnight success, the smartest people play the longest games. The best in the world don't chase 30-day transformations. They build strong foundations for the next 30 years and beyond. I've seen this in my coaching work too. The clients who think in years, not months, build more resilient businesses, stronger relationships, and deeper trust in themselves. And they're not pulling back at every bump, setback, or obstacle. Too many people give up after a week or a month because they don't see progress. But success takes time. The ability to think long-term gives you patience, and daily action gives you momentum. There's a quote I love. Most people overestimate what they can do in a year and underestimate what they can do in 10. Look at Warren Buffett. 95% of his wealth came after the age of 65. Think of success like farming. Plant seeds today through learning, creating, showing up, and reaching out to people. Water daily through consistency, iteration, and nurturing relationships. Harvest later through results, insights, and breakthroughs. You want to be playing long-term games with long-term people, and you do this by building skills that compound. And here's the paradox. The longer the game, the more urgent the day becomes. Because while you can't control or predict the future, you can absolutely dominate the next 24 hours. Number 4, contrarian thinking, the invisible differentiator. Peter Thiel, founder of PayPal, has a question he asks every new hire. What's one truth you believe that most people don't? This isn't about being difficult, it's about identifying original thinking. You see, to get ahead of 97% of people, you must do what 97% of people avoid. Think differently, act independently, and risk being wrong. Steve Jobs believed computers would be personal when IBM was selling to corporations. Sarah Blakely believed women wanted undergarments that weren't designed by men. Elon Musk bet on reusable rockets. The most valuable ideas feel absurd until they're obvious. And every breakthrough is born from this: believing something others don't, and being willing to be misunderstood while proving it. So ask yourself, what's your crazy idea? What do you believe so strongly that you would build a decade or more around it? While most people want to fit in, those at the top of their field are willing to be misunderstood. Number 5, master the inner game. Let's talk identity, because no amount of external effort can compensate for internal resistance. If your subconscious identity is "I'm not the kind of person who succeeds," you'll unconsciously sabotage your own progress. This is called the upper limit problem, a term coined by psychologist Gay Hendricks. It means we all have a mental thermostat for how much success, joy, or abundance we think we're allowed. And when we go beyond it, we pull ourselves back. That's why the most powerful work you can do is on your mind. Start telling a new story. I'm the kind of person who follows through. I can do hard things. I was born to create, make an impact, and thrive. And this is where the Pygmalion effect comes in. We don't become who we want. We become who we expect. One woman I coached didn't start her jewelry business until she was 48 because she believed you had to be in New York or Los Angeles to succeed. Then she met someone from a town smaller than hers who had built a 7-figure e-commerce brand, and that shattered the ceiling she didn't realize she had built. So raise your expectations of yourself. Believe bigger. Speak to yourself like someone who matters. Because when you stop shrinking, you start rising. And the moment you change how you see yourself is the moment your reality starts to shift around you. Number 6, protect your inputs like your life depends on it. Imagine your mind is a high-end operating system. Would you let anyone dump malware into it? Would you run 19 tabs of junk content and expect it to perform at a high level? But that's what most people do, hour after hour. They mindlessly scroll and drown themselves in comparison, making their brain cluttered, reactive, and overwhelmed. What if you started treating your attention like a sacred resource? What if you curated your mental diet in the way an athlete watches what they eat? Start with this. Mute or unfollow toxic accounts. Limit news consumption. Follow people who challenge and inspire you. Read more books than tweets. And spend more time learning and creating than scrolling and consuming. Your brain becomes what it consumes. And when you clean up your mental inputs, you reclaim your energy, creativity, and power. So start feeding your mind in the way an athlete feeds their body. Number 7, the rule of 1%. The 1% rule is simple. Improve by 1% each day. Small actions done daily without fail. Brush up on a skill. Send a thank you note. Meditate for 5 minutes. Each one seems small, insignificant even, but over time, these tiny actions compound into massive transformation. Truth is, your life will never change until you change something you do daily. Consistency is strange. It often feels less like progress and more like repetition and showing up when nothing seems to be changing. But that's the secret most people miss. Change doesn't happen overnight. It builds slowly and gradually until one day the results you can see catch up with the effort no one saw. In fact, growth looks like nothing is happening until suddenly everything is happening. Not because you did something once, but because you did something consistently, even when it felt like it didn't matter. That's what makes consistency so powerful. So here's the rule. Get 1% better every day. That's 37 times better in a year. But almost no one does it because the 1% feels boring. Let it be boring. Let others chase shortcuts. You just keep stacking the invisible wins. Because if you want exponential results, fall in love with incremental effort. Be patient with the process and impatient with taking action. Number 8, emotional regulation. Want to win without burning out? Master your nervous system. Because in a world that's reactive, the calmest person in the room leads. The ability to breathe when things fall apart, to pause when others panic, and to lead when others react. Anxiety says, what if it falls apart? Faith gently answers, what if it comes together in ways better than you imagined? And emotional regulation isn't just about staying calm. It's about responding intentionally instead of reacting impulsively. So train your nervous system. Box breathe. 4 seconds in, hold for 4, out for 4, hold for 4. Pause before responding and practice stillness. Number 9, redefine success before you chase it. Before you try to get ahead of most people, ask yourself, what does success actually mean to me? Because if you chase someone else's definition, you will reach the mountaintop and feel empty. You might win the race and hate the prize. Success isn't about being envied. It's about living a life that feels good when no one's watching. A life you're proud to call your own. Don't let the world trick you into believing success is more, bigger, faster. Sometimes success is peace, joy, doing work you love, or being able to spend time with your children and loved ones. Define it for yourself and then build your life around those answers with intention. You don't need to be extraordinary to live an extraordinary life. You just need to do small things consistently. Think differently, get comfortable with the uncomfortable, and build an inner world that is so strong and resilient that nothing on the outside can break it. Because getting ahead isn't about doing more. It's about doing less so you can focus on what matters. You see, every dream comes with a price. Not always in money, but in time, energy, focus, and the willingness to let go of what's easy for what's meaningful. And if you don't make some sacrifices for what you truly want, then what you truly want becomes what you sacrifice. You give your attention to things that don't matter. You say yes to everyone but yourself, and you stay in your comfort zone even though deep down, a quiet part of you is aching and yearning for more. Discipline is a form of self-respect. It's choosing temporary discomfort over long-term regret. You can't have growth without letting go. You can't have progress without prioritizing. And you can't create a life that's true to you while trying to please everyone else. If you enjoyed this video and are ready to live life with intention and purpose, then I recommend watching this one next. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel and my newsletter for more ideas, insight, and inspiration. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.